My name is Calvillo. I am from Houston, Texas, and I am the owner of Texas Elite Fitness.
To becoming the owner?
So prior to being an owner, I was a full-time student, and then eventually I only accomplished 2 years of college, and I kind of just said, this isn't for me anymore. So I started going to college, and after that, I was just kind of in that misty area of like, well, I don't know what to do with my life, so I'm just kind of winging it at this point. And the opportunity arose where it was like, hey, you want to run a gym? And I was like, sure, I'll go ahead and do it. With no prior experience, I was just thrown into the pit, and it was actually just 2 days of getting to understand what was going on, and ever since then I've been going 2 years strong.
And what have you learned from that experience?
Well, from the go, it was more of an internal struggle that I had, because I'm a very quiet person in general. Everybody who gets to meet me pretty much knows like I'm not very outgoing or anything like that. Maybe once you get to know me, then I'll start being more outgoing and being more verbal in a sense. But that was one thing for sure. And then understanding how to manage a business. So came with rent, expenses, gym equipment, and actually getting to understand how to communicate with people, because like I said, I was antisocial, so getting to learn how to talk to people and be able to, in a sense, make them feel home, that was one of the main things I had to really pick up on. Well, I guess the initial thing itself, that I own a business, coming from 2 years worth of college, little to no background of managing and communicating, and that's also too. It's just saying that I own something, and for me, that actually kind of rewarded itself, because I was also in that space of like, dude, I don't know what I'm doing with myself. I don't know where I'm trying to go. I don't know what I want to do with my life. And being able to say like, hey, I actually run a gym and I own a gym, it kind of throws people off, like, hey, because people who have known me, they're like, dude, you're not going to school no more? I'm like, nah, I'm just kind of out here running a gym now. I'm like, oh, dude, that's pretty cool. I'm like, yeah, man, if you ever want to swing by, swing by. And it brings kind of like a joy to actually say that. It's a lot of pride, many too, saying like, yeah, I run a gym, I own a gym, and I do my best to make sure I live up to that.
Being an entrepreneur, what is entrepreneurship?
Being an entrepreneur, I think, is having an idea, and if you feel so invested in it, go for it. Do all the research you need to do. Make sure you're doing everything to the T, in a sense. Yes, of course, you won't be perfect off the bat, but making sure you're going to be at the steady pace that you need to be. Don't jump the gun. Make sure you're able to kind of build up to it, because at the same time, you don't want to do something so drastic that you're just kind of overthrown with, oh, well, you still got to do this, you got to do that, and you're just like, oh snap, maybe I may have bit off a little bit more than I could chew. So I think it's being able to collect everything they need from the get-go, and making sure that it's going to be stable at the end. For sure, you always want to be stable, and if you're able to start throwing it, maybe have a newer idea of like, okay, we can start doing this, then that's where it starts bigging up, and I feel like that's when you start seeing your dream pick up, and you're like, yes, I'm doing it. I'm being a full entrepreneur, and I'm being able to own my idea and turn it into reality. Off the bat, for sure, income. But luckily, we have members who are very loyal, and we even mentioned it, like we made posts on Instagram saying like, hey, we know COVID is going on. We also know some of y'all may be affected by it. We also know financially it's a big thing. So we understand if y'all need to either freeze your accounts or have to basically cancel your membership, like we understand. And for the most part, like from the 80 members that we had, we only lost 8, while everybody else was just kind of give us a go, like, hey, you can keep on charging us, and we're like, okay, financially we were still being afloat. We had to bring other income in, but other than that, we weren't drastically hit in a sense. We were able to still pay rent, until opening day, and once we opened up again, that's when we just had more people just come in, and that definitely helped out a lot.
So that you can still be a sustainable business.
For sure. So public health was the main thing that we had to make sure we took care of. So we did have a company come over and basically sanitize everything, top down, like whatever had to be sanitized was sanitized. Even the office was sanitized, restrooms, every little space in the equipment was sanitized as well. And that was done twice, and that kind of gained a lot of confidence in people to say, okay, we should still be safe enough to go and work out here. That's what we wanted. We wanted to make sure everybody was safe and had trust in us that we're looking out for the best in them.
It improved elite fitness.
I think one of our main goals is to actually expand. So that's one thing we have been looking into, and gladly ever since COVID happened and we had to restart in a sense, our business actually did start rising up more. So now we have a little bit more financial stability, so to where we could say, okay, we can start expanding elsewhere. Because I know one of the main things has been we have quality, but we kind of have a tight space. So that's one of the main things we have been looking into. So for sure, that's one thing we want to pull off, and without a doubt, I'm pretty sure it's gonna turn out.
Mean for you? What does it mean to Eric?
Success to me means, for me, it's mainly the smaller wins, because I feel like from where I came from, the background, growing up in a sense, I've had a lot of faults. I know that for sure. I've had a lot of faults, and I felt like I never got a lot of wins in a sense. So for instance, just being able to gain a new member, that was a win. Being able to promote the gym in a different way, that was a win. Being able to showcase that I am able to run this gym and not let it down, that's a win too. So for me, it's all those small wins eventually add up, and that's, you eventually have a pile of wins where I have a lot of wins. So I can't really say I'm failing at this or anything like that. So I feel like that's one of the success to me is the small wins for sure. I think it's having the small wins and having a bigger goal in a sense of, or a bigger win that you want to get. I feel like that kind of balances out. Once you have the smaller wins, eventually you start getting to the bigger win of like, dude, like I've made it, like I'm getting to where I want to get to. I guess, yeah.
It doesn't have to, but like, what is your dream?
I think for me personally, it may sound corny, but I want to have a family. Family is something that's always hit home for us. Especially from my side, I grew up in a small family. My girlfriend, she has a bigger family, and I've always told her, like, dude, I want that. Like, I want to have a family. I want, whether it's 5, 10 kids, like, I want that. I want to have a family and be able to also say I can provide for them. Because, as men, always say we want to do our best to provide for our partner, family, whatever it may be. We want to be able to execute in a sense, make sure they don't have to worry about any of that. And for me, being able to say I have a family, I have a full-on functional business going on. I can't say anything else. Like, that's all I want. That I can't compete. There's nothing else that's gonna top that for that. Even if I were to earn $1 million, I wouldn't be able to say I'll trade it in for my family. No, family is something that runs deep for me. So I stand ground with that. For sure.
Yeah. Makes you happier. So are you grateful for your members?
For sure. I'm for sure grateful for our members, due to the fact that, COVID happened, they still stuck around, they still showed support. Once we reopened, they came back, and we even gained more members out of it. And it actually means a lot because for me, being able to be, okay, we may be in a kind of dark right now as far as what's going to go down, how long are we going to be down for, but I think without a doubt, there wasn't any doubt of our members being, hey, we're just going to have to let you be on your own, but it was more like, hey, we got your back, whatever you need, let us know. Because I've even had some DMs of saying, hey, just wanted to get, just kind of like an update, how's everything going, like, are you good, do you need anything? And I mean, for the most part I was okay, but it just shows like they do care. And for me, I may not be as communicative as I may want to be, but the fact that I still leave an impression for someone to say, hey, let me go check up on Eric, see how they're doing, that actually goes a long way for me. So